the last part in Math 5 is factoring and quadratic equations and functions, or functions. So let's talk about factoring first. Okay, so you have to know what is a factor. What is a factor? So if you look at only numbers, 6 is 2 times 3. So when you rewrite something as a product, you got some factors. So here 2 is a factor of 6 and 3 is another factor of 6. So we need a product, and then all the multipliers in the products are the factors. That's the definition of factors. So in Math 5, we don't want to rewrite a number as a product. We will rewrite something with letters. Okay, so for example, we may write down x squared minus 1 is x plus 1 times x minus 1. Then x plus 1 is a factor, and x minus 1 is another factor. Okay, so in this part, in this chapter, you will be given some polynomials like this, and then we need a product, and each part in this product is a factor. We will factor a polynomial. That's the goal for this chapter. So now we have 3 factoring methods. Let's talk about the first method, GCF method. This is the greatest common factor method. It's similar to the greatest common factor method for the numbers. Let's look at our first example. So G is greatest common factor, GCF. Okay? Yeah. So our first example is we want to factor this 9a b squared plus 6a cubed b to the 7 minus 15a squared b cubed. Okay, so first we want to find a GCF of the number parts only. We have 9, 6, and 15. So what's their common factor? This is 3 times 3, this is 3 times 2, this is 3 times 5. So you'll see the common part is 3. So GCF is 3 for the number part. And then we look at letter A. A part, letter A. So for letter A, what do we have? We have A in the first term, we have A cubed in the second term, we have A squared in the last term. So what do we need? We need the smallest exponent. Okay, so what's the exponent here? So this exponent 2, exponent 3, this one exponent is missing, so it's 1. What's the smallest one? Number 1. So we want A to the first power. And then we do the same thing for letter B. So we have b squared, b to the 7, and b cubed. So smallest exponent, we have b squared. So what's the GCF of this polynomial? The given expression is number 3 times the A part, A to the first power, and B part, B squared. So we got the GCF for the polynomial, for the given expression. Let's continue on the other slides. So for this expression, we already got the GCF is 3ab squared. How can we factor this expression? Okay, so we put this GCF first. Okay, so here is the GCF we found, and then we need to find a quotient for this parentheses. Okay, so divide by GCF. All these three terms on top divided by GCF, we got three terms in the parentheses. Okay, so now let's do that. This is divided by 3ab squared, so we got number 3. They cancelled. And this divided by 3ab squared, we got 2, 3 minus 1 for the a part, a squared. 7 minus 2 for the b part, b to the fifth. Minus the last one, 3ab squared, division. 15 divided by 3, 5. A squared divided by a, b cubed divided by b squared, 3 minus 2, b. Okay, so we write the given expression to this product. So this is a product. That's called factorization. That's our goal. Let's look at another example. 12x squared y squared minus 18x y cubed. So now first we look at what's the GCF. Okay, GCF for the number. GCF of 12 and 18 is what? 3 or 6? It's 6, right? This is 2 times 6 times 6. We want the greatest one, the largest one, so it's 6. And then we look at letter x. Letter x give us x squared and x, so we choose smallest exponent, smaller exponent, so it's x. Y part, y squared and y cubed, we got y squared. So these three parts together is our GCF. So GCF is 6x, and y squared. Okay, so now we need a product. So how to find the other part? Divide, right? The top two terms divided by the GCF. This divided by 6x y squared, we got 2x minus this one divided by 6x y squared, we got 3x cancelled y. Okay, so this product is the final answer. Okay, so if you like, I can rewrite it here. Is the GCF times the quotient, 2x minus 3y. That's our first factoring method. Okay, we find the GCF and then we divide. We can rewrite a given expression to a product. So now sometimes we need this special formula to factor. We have a lot of formulas in Math 5, but this is the most important one. Okay, so if you're given a square minus a square, okay, you can rewrite it as a product, a plus b times a minus b. It's a very good formula. Let's look at an example. Okay, let's look at an example. So if you have a squared minus 49. Okay, so you see here is a plus, here is a minus. So what's the capital A in the formula? What's the capital A here? So it's small a, right? It is the base in this perfect square. What's capital B here in the formula? So you have to look at this 49 as 7 squared. So what is B? B is this base 7. Okay, so it's base plus a base, base minus a base. So it's a plus 7, a minus 7. Okay, yeah. So another example, if this is a squared, b squared minus 25. So it's a plus times a minus. What's the base for this? AB. What's the base for 25? 25 is 5 squared, so base 5. So it's AB plus 5 and AB minus 5. A harder example. 50x squared y minus 2y cubed. Okay, so now we will combine GCF and the special formula together. So in the beginning you see it's not a square minus square, and you can see they have these two terms, these two parts has some common factors. Okay, so 50 and 2. 50 and 2, what's their common factor? 2. And then x part, this is x, this is no x, so no common part. Y part, this is y to the first, y to the third, so it's y. So this is our GCF method, right? We factor out GCF and then divide. So this divided by 2y, what do you got? 25x squared. The second term divided by 2y, you got 2 cancelled, y squared. So now you should be very careful. This is the perfect square, a squared minus b squared. We can use the previous formula. So what's a and b? A here is the base, so we look at 25 as 5 squared. So it's 5x. B is y, so it's 5x plus y times 5x minus y. Okay, so it's GCF and this formula. Now let's look at a final exam question. Okay, your final exam is a multiple choice exam. So you want to factor this. The given expression is 8x squared y minus 18 y cubed. Okay, so it's not a square minus square, so we have to first factor out the GCF. What's the GCF? 8 and 18. You have common factor 2. So this one has x part, this one has no x part, so no x. Y and y cubed, we look at the common part, smallest power, so it's y. Okay, yeah. And then this one divided by GCF to y. We got 4, y cancelled, x squared. The second one divided by GCF to y, so you got minus 9, 18 divided by 2, and then y squared. So that's the first step. But this step factor completely. You cannot choose. This is not the final answer. You need one more step. Okay, and if you look at A, B, C, D, this is not in there. So now what's our step 2? Step 2 is this formula. A squared minus b squared is a plus b times a minus b. The order doesn't matter, okay? You can also write down as a minus b times a plus b. The order doesn't matter. So what is a and b here? A and b are the base of the square. What is square? 4 is 2 squared, so base 2. This is x squared, so base x. Plus 9 is 3 squared, so base 3, y squared, base y. So it's 2x plus 3y and 2x minus 3y. So which one is the answer? The answer is D. Okay, again, the order doesn't matter. You can have minus first and then plus, or plus first and then minus. Okay, so that's example, final exam question. Let's look at another one. So this is very similar to the previous example. Okay, so we are looking at 18x cubed minus 200xy squared. So first we look at the GCF. So 18 and 200, they both have 2. They both have x part, smaller exponent is x. So the first one has no y, so GCF has no y part, no letter y. Okay, so now this divided by 2x, what do you got? 9x squared minus, and that divided by 2x, you got 100, x cancelled, y squared. That is our step 1. We use GCF, we find GCF. Step 2 is a plus b times a minus b. And A and B are the base of these two powers, remember? So what's the base here? 3x. What's the base for 100y squared? The base of these two parts. This is 10y. Okay, so here is, sorry, one of them should be minus. So it's 3x minus 10y. Okay, 1 plus 1 minus. So what's the answer? The answer is A. The second factoring method is called grouping method. Okay, grouping method. So the condition for grouping method is you have to have 4 terms expression. Okay, the given question has 4 parts. 1, 2, 4 terms, 3 and 4. Then you can use grouping method, method 2, our second method. Okay, so what's the grouping method? Let's look at this example. Okay, so I will look at the first two terms only in the beginning, okay? Yeah. So we use method 1, the GCF method, to factor this group. Okay, we have 2 groups. This is group 1. The other 2 terms will be group 2. $15 and $20. What's their common factor? What's their common part? 5. Common letter here is C. So GCF is 5C. So now we need division, right, to find the quotient in the parentheses. The first term divided by 5C, we got 3W, C cancelled. Minus this divided by 5C, we got 4Z. So the first group, we got 5C times 3W minus 4Z. The second group, so now let's look at the second group. So the second group has these 2 terms, including the negative sign before 6. Okay, the sign is very important. This sign, negative sign, is in the second group. Negative 6dw plus 8dz. So now we use the method 1 again. What's the GCF for the second group? GCF 6 and 8. We got number 2. They both have D, so D is in the GCF, the common letter. Okay? Yeah. So now the most important remark is if the middle sign, the sign of the second group, this leading sign of the second group is negative, you have to use negative sign here. If it's positive, you use positive sign here. So use this sign. Use it. Okay, use this sign in the second GCF. Okay, so it's a small trick. Okay, it's a small trick. So now we will divide to get the quotient. So let me put it down here. Negative 6dw divided by negative 2d. What do we have? So this number, we got 3, d cancelled, we got w. The second term, positive 8dz divided by negative 2d. So this is d cancelled, this is negative 4. So we got negative 4z. So now you see, from these 2 divisions, we get exactly the same quotient. Okay, so that's a very important property for grouping method. You always get same quotient after you found GCF. Okay, so finally we just put 2 GCFs together and then put the common quotient here. So 2 GCFs is 5C minus 2D, and the common quotient is 3W minus 4Z. So that's the grouping method. We look at 2 groups separately and then factor out the GCF. You will get same quotient. Okay, same quotient. Let's look at it. Another two examples. I forgot to talk about the answers of this question. So you have four choices, A, B, C, D. Which one is a factor of the given polynomial? After you got the answer, 5c minus 2d times 3w minus 4z. So one of them will be the answer. So look at first, 5c minus 2d is not in there. So 3w minus 4z is the answer. Okay, so the answer is C. So now let's look at the next example. Again, grouping method, four terms. Okay, you have four terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know you need grouping method. So now the first group, the first two terms. Okay, so a term has a sign, a number, and letters. So these are the first two terms, 21ab minus 14ax. What's the GCF? 14 and 21, 7. Common letter A. So first term divided by GCF, 7a. This is GCF. We got 3b. This divided by 7a. We got negative 2x. So the second group we get positive 15by minus 10xy. This is the second group, the last two terms. This sign is very important, okay? Use this sign. This sign is positive, so the second GCF is positive. 15 and 10, common factor is 5. Common letter here is y. Okay, so now we need two divisions. This divided by GCF, we got 3b. This divided by GCF, we got negative 2x. So now you see we got exactly the same quotient. They are the same. They have to be the same. If they are wrong, that means your GCF are wrong or the division is wrong. Finally, we put two GCFs together. 7a plus 5y, two GCFs together. And we put the common quotient, 3b minus 2x. One of them is in the answer. So which one? This is the common quotient. Okay, so only one of these factors will be the answer. So the answer is A. So this example, the numbers are a little bit larger. Okay, a little bit larger. So two groups. First two terms, so 45 and 63, they have common factor 9. The largest common factor 9. Okay, 3 is a common factor but too small. They have common letter C. Okay, so 9c is the first GCF. Okay, GCF. So now they divide by 9c. Got 5w here and 7z. Second group, negative 20 dw minus 28 dz, right? Use this sign. This sign means negative. We have a negative GCF for the second group. 20 and 28, we got common factor 4. Common letter D. Okay, so now two divisions divided by negative 4D. Negative, negative cancelled, we got 5w positive. Divided by negative 4D. Negative, negative cancelled, we got positive 7z. Okay, so these two quotients are the same. That's how you check the grouping method. Your calculation in the grouping method. Okay, we have two different GCFs, but the quotient must be the same. So now we put two GCFs together, 9C minus 4D, and then times the common quotient, 5W plus 7G. So which one is in the answer? This one is not. The first one, this is not in the answer. 5W plus 7Z is in the answer, is in the ABCD. So this is the right answer, C. The third part is quadratic polynomial or quadratic equation. So what is quadratic? Quadratic means degree 2, okay? So we have ax squared plus bx plus c. So this is the degree 2 terms. You have 3 terms. This is a quadratic polynomial. If you put an equal sign equal to 0, you got a quadratic equation. So we will factor either this quadratic polynomial or we solve the whole quadratic equation. That's the third part. So now let's look at an easier case. Easier case means the leading coefficient a is 1. If a is 1, we have a method, it's called trial and error. Trial and error factoring method. So let's look at our example. First example, we want to factor x squared plus 5x plus 6. So the leading coefficient here, a is 1. We have 1x squared. b is 5, c is 6 for this quadratic polynomial. What is trial and error method? We assume the answer has this form: x plus a letter s times x plus a letter t. Okay, so we will try to find, we will use trial and error method to find these two letters s and t. Okay, s and t. So what's the condition for s and t? How to find s and t? Okay, so let's look at this table. So first, s times t. S times t is c. So c is 6. So here we need product to be 6. Product 6. We need two integers. Product is 6. So what are these two integers? 2 times 3, 1 times 6. Okay? And we also have negative products, right? Negative numbers. Negative 2 times negative 3. Or negative 1 times negative 6. Okay? So these are the 4 choices for product 6. So now what are these two numbers? So this is s is 2, t is 3. S is 1, t is 6. S is negative 2, t is negative 3. S is negative 1, t is negative 6. So what's the sum? The first one, 2 plus 3 is, this is the sum condition. 5. 1 plus 6, 7. Negative 2 plus negative 3, negative 5. Negative 1 plus negative 6, negative 7. Okay, so what's the sum? Sum has to be our letter b in the quadratic polynomial. So what is b? b is 5. So this is the answer. We need two conditions. Product is c, and then sum is b. Then we got two numbers s and t. So this is our solution. S is 2, t is 3. Okay, so let me rewrite the whole thing. So x squared plus 5x plus 6 is x plus 2 times x plus 3. Okay, so we factored this given quadratic polynomial by using product and sum condition. So let me do it again. Let's look at a new one. X squared plus 11x plus 30. So first you have to check a is 1. A has to be 1. If a is not 1, it's much harder. Okay, it's much harder. And the b is the sum. Remember, this is the sum. B is 11, and then C is 30. C is the product. Okay, product of what? Of S and T. These two numbers in the product, x plus S times x plus T. So now we need the table. Okay, we will always start from 30. Okay, so product 30. So we may get 1 times 30, 2 times 15, 5 times 6. Or you get negative answers, negative numbers. But we need positive sums, so we don't need to look at, for this particular question, we don't need to look at the negative numbers, right? And then we have these S and T, right? This is 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 5 and 6. So which one give us sum? Sum is B, 11. Which one give us sum 11? This one. 5 plus 6 is 11. So that's our S and T. Okay, so they are our S and T. S is 5, T is 6. So the answer, x squared plus 11x plus 30 is x plus 5 times x plus 6. So how did we get these two conditions, sum and product conditions? We use FOIL method or distribution method. Okay, so you just multiply it. 5 times x, x squared, x times 6, 6x, 5 times x, 5x, and 5 times 6, 30. You combine like terms, you will got sum is 11, product is 30. Okay, so factoring method is the inverse of FOIL method for this particular case. One more example. X squared plus 4x minus 5. Product. Okay, what's the product? This part C, right? This is product. C is negative 5. B is 4. And A is 1. So product we need is negative 5. So this is harder, right? This is harder. S and T. So here's the sum S plus T, which should be B, number 4, right? Number 4. So we need a negative product. So how can we get negative 5? So first we need 5. So 1 times 5. We need negative 5. So one of them is negative. So it's either negative 1 times 5 or 1 times negative 5. So we have two choices. We check their sum. So negative 1 plus 5 is 4. So this is the right answer. 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4. So this is wrong. Okay, we need sum B. B is 4. So this is the answer. Okay, this is the answer. So S is negative 1, T is 5. So let's write down the answer. This is x plus S times x plus T. What's x plus S? S is negative 1, so x minus 1. T is 5, so this is x plus 5. Okay, so if the product is negative, that means one number is negative. Okay, one of the S and T is negative. Now let's look at quadratic equation. Okay, so quadratic equation, quadratic polynomial, they are different because there is an equal sign. Okay, so let me rewrite it. y squared minus 36 is 5y. So in the beginning of the last part, I already said, what's the quadratic equation? It has to be ax squared plus bx plus c is 0. So letter x or letter y doesn't matter. ABC here is our numbers. So the important thing is the right hand side has to be 0. So here it has to be 0. And then you got your number A, number B, number C. Okay, so before you find ABC, you have to make sure the right hand side of the equation has to be 0. So let's give an example. This example, right hand side is not 0. This is not 0. So we have to move it to the left. So we will get a new equation. 0 on the right, y squared stay the same, minus 36 or negative 36 stay the same. 5y moved from right to left, so it's become negative 5y. Okay, then we can find our ABC. So what's A? A is 1, B is negative 5, C is negative 36. So we can factor the left hand side now. We need two numbers S and T. So sum is B, negative 5. Product is negative 36. Okay, negative 36. So how can you get negative 36? So we always start from the product, right? So product ST and then sum. So I don't have space to list all the possible S and T, so I just list 2 or 3 choices. Okay, so maybe you have negative 6 times 6, that's negative 36, right? You have negative 4 times 9, or you have 4 times negative 9. Okay, so you have 2 different numbers, one for S, one for T, and then you check the sum. Okay, there are more other choices possible. S and T's 2 and 18, negative 2, positive 18, 2, negative 18. So we check the sum. This one sum is 0, right? 6 plus negative 6 is 0. This one sum is 5. So negative 4 plus 9. So they are wrong. So the next one here, sum is negative 5. So we know this is the answer. Okay, because B is negative 5. We need 2 numbers, match the sum and product. Okay, sum and product. So now we factored the left hand side. So let's continue here. Okay, let's continue here. Y squared minus 5y minus 36 is 0. This is y plus sy plus t. So s and t, 4 and negative 9. Okay, so now we need the special property, zero product property. If you want the product to be 0, one of them has to be 0. So y minus 9 is 0. What do you got? Y is 9. Y plus 4 is 0. What do you got? Y is negative 4. So the answer is 9 and negative 4. So 9 and negative 4, choice D. Okay, choice D. Okay, so let me repeat the last step a little bit. This step. So we want y minus 9 is 0. So you move 9 to that side. Y is positive 9. And we want y plus 4 is 0. So you move it. You got y is negative 4. Okay? Yeah, so that's our 2 solutions. Solution D, 9 and negative 4. Another example, x squared plus 2x is 15. So again, right hand side has to be 0, and then you can get ABC. So we got x squared plus 2x, they didn't move, 15 moved, so it changed to negative 15. So what's our ABC? A is 1, B is 2, C is -15. Okay, so if you have the calculator, TI-36, you just put ABC, click enter, you got the answer. Okay, you don't have to use factoring method to solve this quadratic equation. And next week I will talk about quadratic formula and graph of quadratic functions. So it's a new method, you know ABC, there's a formula, you can get two solutions. Okay, but today, let's talk about only factoring method. Okay, so now let's do it a little bit faster. So we need product, -15, and then here is S and T, and then sum B is 2. Okay, so product and sum. We need two numbers, so 15. So it's 1 times 15, 3 times 5. One of them is negative. So that's our possibilities for the pair, right? For the pair S and T. So which one's sum is 2? -3 and 5. Okay, so we factored this side. We got x plus s and x plus t. Okay, so what is s? -3. What is t? +5. Okay, so this is x plus s times x plus t. After you find s and t, you have a product in the left hand side. Okay, so make sure right hand side is 0. Okay, right hand side has to be 0. Now 0 product property. So we want them to be 0 separately. So x minus 3 is 0, x is 3. X plus 5 is 0, x is -5. So the answer is 3 and -5 is A. Okay, so let's look at an easier example. Sometimes you are given 3 terms in the left and right hand side is 0. So now what's the ABC? What's the ABC? So A is not -5. This is not A. Okay, so let's look at the formula again. The formula is ax squared plus bx plus c is 0. So what is A? A is attached to x squared. So it's how many x squared? So this is A. A is 1. What is B? B is the x part. So this is the B part. B is 4. And the C is -5. So C is the number part. Okay, C is the number part. Okay, so the order is very important. A is not the first number. Okay, A is the number attached or multiplied by x squared. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite the given question. X squared, follow the order of ABC. Okay, so now it's more clearer, right? A is 1, B is 4, C is -5. Okay, so now we checked product, ST, and sum. So we need sum 4, product -5. So it's -1 times 5, or 5 times -1. That's -5 times +1. Okay, one of the S or T is negative. So what's the sum here? -1 plus 5 is 4. The sum there is -5 plus 1 is -4. So we need sum 4 because B is 4. So this is the right answer. Okay, so we got x minus 1 times x plus 5 is 0. So this gives us x is 1 because we want x minus 1 equal to 0. And the other one gave us x is negative 5 because we want x is negative 5. I'm sorry, x plus 5 is 0. Okay, so this is 0, we got negative 5. This is 0, we got 1. Okay, we got 1. Two solutions. Okay, remember, for quadratic equation, we got two solutions. But sometimes they are the same number. Okay, sometimes they are the same number. Okay, so now we understand if a is 1, we need trial and error method. We find s and t to factor the polynomial or solve the equation. If a is not 1, okay, today I will talk about AC method, which is a long method, hard method, and next time I will tell you the quadratic formula to factor or to solve the quadratic equation. Okay, so now let's talk about AC method. For a is not equal to 1. If a is 1, use S and T, trial and error method. For this example, what is a? A is 2, B is 11, C is negative 21. Okay, you see here a is not 1, a is 2. So we cannot use S and T, trial and error method. We have to have a new method, which is called AC method, AC factoring method. Okay, so the whole idea is we change this quadratic polynomial ax squared plus bx plus c to 4 terms polynomial. Okay, so we change this to sx plus, so let's use different color, sx plus tx plus c, and then we use grouping method to factor it. Now you see if we can change the middle term bx to sx plus tx, then we got 4 terms. Okay, so we start from 3 terms, ax squared plus bx plus c, we got 4 terms. If we can split bx to sx plus tx, 4 terms polynomial, we can use grouping method to factor it. Okay, so it's similar to trial and error method, but we need S and T to just split bx. Okay, split bx. Okay, so now I'm going to change the letter, okay, because we don't want to use S and T. S and T is for the trial and error method. So let me change this to u and v. So ux and vx. Okay, ux and vx. So that's our goal. We want to change bx to ux plus vx. Now I'm going to write down the conditions for u and v. Okay, u and v. So u times v, again, is a product condition, is a times c. And u plus v is b. Okay, so that's why it's called AC method. You see the product is not c, it's a times c. Okay, it's AC method because product is a times c. So now for this particular example, what's u times v? U times v is 2 times negative 21 is negative 42, and then u plus v is 11. Okay, so now you can see the problem. What's the problem? Why AC method is hard? Because this number is big. Okay, so 2 numbers, product is negative 42 is a very big number. Okay, very big number. Okay, so now I write down the conditions again for u and v in a new slide. So we need 2 integers. Product is negative 42, and then the sum is 11. Okay, 11. So what is 42? What is 42? Okay, so product negative 42. Product condition, it could be 6 and 7. One of them is negative. Or it could be 3 and 14. One of them is negative, or it could be 2 and 21. A lot of choices. Okay, a lot of choices. This is the problem. U and V. U times V is this. And then we check the sum. Which one give us sum 11? Okay, I don't have space to write down U comma V. Okay, sum 11. So this one sum is 1. Sum is 6 plus negative 7 is negative 1. So it's wrong, right? This one sum is 11. Okay, this one sum is 11. So this is our answer for U and V. Okay, negative 3 plus 14 is 11. Okay, is 11. So U is negative 3, V is 14. Okay, so first we find U and V. Okay, U and V. So now we will rewrite the given quadratic polynomial to ax squared plus ux plus bx plus c. Okay, so we split the 11x. So we got 2x squared minus 3x plus 14x minus 21. So we have 4 terms now. We have grouping method to factor the 4 terms. So what's the GCF here? 2 and 3, no common number. Common letter x. Division. So this divided by x, we got 2x. That one divided by x, we got negative 3. So that's the first GCF, x. And these two numbers, we use this sign. Positive sign here, right? The leading sign of the second group. 14, 21, we have 7. Common number. This one has x. This one has no x, so there's no x in the GCF, in the second GCF. So 14x divided by 7, 2x. Negative 21 divided by 7, negative 3. You see we got the same quotient here. Okay, so finally we got the product. Put 2 GCF together, x plus 7. The other one is 2x minus 3. Okay, so which one is in the answer? X plus 7. 2x minus 3 is not in the answer A, B, C, D. Okay, so A is the answer. So next time I will tell you quadratic formula, and we will use quadratic formula to solve the same question. AC method is very hard. Okay, AC method is very hard. We have to find U and V first by using this part. Okay, and then we split bx. B is 11, so we split 11x to negative 3x and 14x in the middle here. And then we use grouping method, factor the first group, second group, and then we got the answer. Okay, yeah.